On this day in history, the 13th of May 1619, the funeral of Anne of Denmark, Queen Consort of King James I of England and James VI of Scotland, took place at Westminster Abbey. The lavish ceremony, designed to rival that of Queen Elizabeth I, marked the final chapter of a fascinating and often overlooked queen's life. But who was Anne of Denmark? What was her role in the courts of Scotland and England? And why in her final years did she become so estranged from her husband the king? Let's take a closer look at the life, death and the grand funeral of this remarkable queen. Anne was born on the 14th of October 1574 at Skanderborg Castle in Jutland, Denmark. She was the second daughter of King Frederick II of Denmark and Norway and Queen Sophia, and the sister of King Christian IV of Denmark. In August 1589, she was married by proxy to King James VI of Scotland, who'd later become James I of England. Their actual wedding took place in Norway in November that year. The marriage was both a political alliance and, for a time, a personal partnership, though it would later become rather strained. Upon her arrival in Scotland, Anne found herself in a court dominated by powerful nobles and Protestant ministers. Unlike the warm and luxurious Danish court, Scotland was austere, and Anne struggled to find her place. One of her first significant acts was a dramatic dispute with James over the custody of their firstborn son, Prince Henry, a battle she lost. During her marriage to James, Anne suffered a number of miscarriages and gave birth to 7 live children. Unfortunately, only 3 of them survived childhood: Henry, Prince of Wales, Elizabeth, and Charles, the future King Charles I. Although Henry, Prince of Wales, survived childhood, he died suddenly, aged 18. Anne took an active role in court life. She was a patron of the arts. She championed Catholic sympathisers and indulged in court masques and grand entertainments. In 1603, James succeeded to the English throne following the death of Queen Elizabeth I, and Anne became Queen of England and Ireland. She embraced her new role with enthusiasm, making her court a centre of art, theatre and culture. She was a great patron of people like Ben Jonson, Inigo Jones and Peter Paul Rubens. However, Anne and James began to drift apart. By the 1610s, they lived largely separate lives. James, who surrounded himself with male favourites, often neglected Anne, while she built her own independent circle at Somerset House, also known as Denmark House. By 1611, Anne's health was deteriorating. She suffered from gout, an ulcerated leg, and was plagued by abnormal menstruation, constant bleeding. Despite visits to Bath to take the waters, her condition worsened, and by spring 1615, she was also suffering from dropsy, the swelling of soft tissues due to the build-up of water. By 1617, she was so unwell that she rarely left her rooms. In January 1619, she was advised by her physician, Sir Theodore de Mayerne, to saw wood to improve circulation. But instead, the exertion worsened her condition. By February, she was bedridden at Hampton Court Palace. King James, paranoid about illness and death, refused to visit her in her final days. However, her son Prince Charles remained by her side. On the 2nd of March 1619, after calling for a glass of Rhenish wine and then water, she passed away at the age of 44. She died in the same room where Queen Jane Seymour had died in 1537, after installing her favourite bed there. After her death, Anne's body was embalmed and sealed in a lead coffin by Abraham Green, the royal plumber. Her entrails were buried at Westminster Abbey on the 5th of March, and her body was transported by barge to Somerset House, where she lay in state for 2 months. Her chambers were draped in black, and her ladies-in-waiting kept vigil over her body. Her funeral was repeatedly delayed due to disputes over the costs. Her elaborate burial arrangements reportedly cost £30,000, a vast sum at the time. On the 13th of May 1619, Anne of Denmark was finally laid to rest in Henry VII's Lady Chapel at Westminster Abbey. Her funeral was one of the most magnificent of the era, designed to match that of Elizabeth I. Her funeral effigy, made by Maximilian Colt, was dressed in crimson robes and was even perfumed with musk, civet and ambergris. The funeral procession was vast, featuring noble women in yards of black broadcloth, members of her household and craftsmen who'd worked in her court, including the famous painter Marcus Geertz. Spectators packed the streets, eager to witness the spectacle. But tragically, a man named William Applegard was killed when a piece of masonry fell from Northampton House during the procession. King James didn't attend the funeral, choosing instead to remain at Greenwich Palace. Their son, Prince Charles, was present as chief mourner. Anne's burial was conducted privately in the evening, led by the Knight Marshal Edward Zouche. Despite her lavish funeral, Anne of Denmark's final resting place is rather unassuming today. Her tomb is marked by simple stone, mostly hidden beneath a small organ in Westminster Abbey. Her funeral effigy survives in the Abbey's collection, though only the head and shoulders remain, as the rest was damaged in World War II. Anne was a queen of independence, culture and contradictions. Though she spent decades by James's side, she was often overlooked, both in her own time and by history. But her patronage of the arts shaped British culture, and her son Charles I would continue her love of theatre, painting and architecture, before meeting his own rather tragic fate. Do you think Anne of Denmark is a forgotten queen, eclipsed by Henry VIII's 6 wives, or eclipsed by her son's queen consort, Henrietta Maria? I think so. But what do you think? Do let me know in the comments what you think of Anne's story. And if you enjoyed this dive into Tudor and Stuart history, then please do like and subscribe for more fascinating historical content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.